So, Mark, did you see all those pictures of the Northern Lights in Las Vegas, everywhere around the country? A lot of people travel all over the world to see this, and you just had to go outside. And I think both of us missed it, unfortunately.
I got text messages like all night from people that were, outside the city a bit and sending me pictures. And I didn't really know it was going to be a thing. My wife did, but she couldn't see anything outside. And we should have gone to somewhere in Michigan where we could have seen it better. But you live and learn, I guess. But there'll be another time, right?
I don't know. I feel like so lost by this. I didn't find out until the next day, and then Saturday night it wasn't as good, and it didn't work out as well. So we're out of luck. But I hope everybody out there got to see them.
The eclipse and Northern Lights all in like 1 month. That's pretty crazy.
And I missed it all. We've been covering this story for the last couple of years. The move to change the hand pay threshold from $1,200 up over $5,000, $6,000. If you go back to when this rule started and you adjusted for inflation, I think it would be $6,300 in today's terms. And we still don't know exactly how this is going to work or if the Treasury Department is going to change this rule. But in front of Congress, IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel said they have some serious thought given to this. Is this finally going to change, or is this just more word service?
I think it's got to change. I mean, just think of the work this costs the government money too, to check all these, to file all these, all that stuff, to deal with it. It costs the casinos money. So, their lobbyists are working on it, having people walking around taking care of these things. So I think it will happen. It's just a question. They probably won't do it enough. Like I say, go up to $9,999. Under $10,000, there's no reason that you need one of these things. The thing that sucks is you get one of these and you might have lost overall. And now you have to get with your accountant and do all this paperwork for something when you lost on that trip because you won this one, $2,500 bonus. You could have lost $5,000 on the trip, but now you have this extra tax stuff to deal with. It can be kind of annoying and a little bit costly. So I say just under 10,000. Let's do it there.
Perfect. 999,999. There you go. You do have to pay taxes on your gambling winnings, even if you don't get a W-2G or you're supposed to. But there was 18 million of those last year that the IRS got. So that's the big number that they're dealing with. Hopefully this would cut down on it. I imagine it would if you raised it up to like $6,000, or to what you said. It seems like a lot of those are probably 15, 2,000, 2,500. The other thing that sucks is you have to itemize your taxes in order to write off gambling losses, which for a lot of people isn't doable. So they can't really write it off either.
You can get stuck with these. And this is a thing with the online casinos too, like here in Michigan, and they're in New Jersey and stuff, that you get these forms anytime you hit anything above 1,200. And you have your profit and loss statement that shows that you did make money over the year, but you still have to, and some people just pay the taxes because it's easier just to claim it as income and pay the taxes on the one or two hits versus trying to deal with all this other crap. Some people have to go and file as a professional gambler. It's like a whole thing for something that should be pretty simple. You should just get a profit and loss statement from any casino you're at and use those to file. I think that would be easy. I mean, people would hide, not turn in their cards and stuff, I'm sure, to get around that, but there's got to be a better way.
A better way for sure, but hopefully they do this, and we'll keep an eye on it as we move forward. So El Cortez, let's head downtown, and they just announced a $20 million renovation. Over the last couple of years, they renovated their rooms, and I think they spent about $30 million on the property, and now they're spending $20 million more. And this includes an expansion of their casino floor, over 10,000 square feet of new space, reworking 4,000 square feet of existing space, 2 new bars, a new restaurant concept, and a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, this is, a long-running casino. I haven't been in it in a few years, but it just had like that old school vibe and a little bit smoky. So I think it can use the facelift for sure. And bringing in new restaurant concepts, new bars is cool. I like that they're going to have black and white movies on the TVs, as like a throwback when they don't have games and stuff going on. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, they said that they want to preserve the vintage appeal. And as you point out, there's 2 new bars. Roulette Bar is one of them, and then a show bar that has a 20 by 10 TV screen that'll show sports during games, but also black and white movies. So definitely leaning into that nostalgia there. And just hopefully sprucing it up, adding a lot of space. Not the biggest casino in the world, so it could use the extra 10,000 square feet of space. And then Hot Nudes by Chinglish is the new restaurant. So a nice little addition here, and good to see El Cortez. I mean, again, I've talked about how El Cortez was in the 90s. Oh man, that place was bad, and it's been all uphill from there.
It's one of those places that's kind of been revitalized, and I think a lot of people miss that era of Vegas, so still go in there and check it out where you can't get that anywhere else really anymore. So it's kind of cool. And I'm glad to see them spending some money and doing well.
So let's talk craps for a minute. And Four Queens tweeted out their tub craps table. This is like a mini version of craps. Now, I'm not a big craps player or really a craps player at all, so I don't know a lot about this. But apparently, these tubs are used in various places, and this is a total thing. I just figured it would kind of mess up your whole rolling strategy.
Yeah, I used to play craps quite a bit, and I hate this. I mean, I've never played on one, but it looks terrible. This is all to cut down on staffing, I'm sure. You know, you don't have the box man anymore. You just have one dealer. And I mean, if it's like half the size of the table, you're eliminating one person, but they're making the money back when a full, big table isn't full. If it's only half full, now you only have one person staffing it instead of two or three. So I think that's where they're looking at this. And then it sounds like the odds aren't quite as good, at least in certain places. I saw like a Golden Nugget out by the pool has one of these and doesn't pay out as good. So that's kind of the thing. And you can't set your dice if you're a roller that likes to set dice and throw it in a certain way. Plus, you're missing a whole bunch of the table. So you can't really get into any type of flow that way. So I don't think any serious craps player is going to sit on this thing.
But it's so cute. It's so little and cute. And there's
It's like,
reason right there.
this is like the 000 for craps, I guess.
There you go. But yeah, let us know. Have you guys ever played at that? At one of these tubs? I guess they're more common than I thought when I was sort of digging into it. So I'd love to hear people's experiences. If it's a different game, if you like it, if you don't, let us know down in the comments. So we have a quick update that was sent to us on Twitter or X from Brian, and he sent us a picture of the bridge going in between the Versailles Tower and Paris proper. You can kind of see the layout, how they have to realign the two buildings there, and it's coming along pretty quickly. So imagine just another couple months and finally it'll all be connected.
Imagine if they just did this 6 months ago and did it before the hotel opened. I mean, how great would that be? Or the tower.
I mean, that's too much to ask. Come on.
Oh, that's crazy.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. We have a lot of fun recording that every single week, talking Vegas, behind the channel, all of that good stuff. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all of the information. Thanks to everybody who supports us over there. So Rio back in the news this week. So we've talked about how Rio joined Hyatt. And one of the benefits of Hyatt Globalist status is the free breakfast. And for at least now at Hash House A Go-Go, that's where the breakfast is. Their tavern is under construction, so we don't know how this is going to work long term. But a lot of people were taking advantage of this with the high Hash House prices and taking to-go boxes. And I know a lot of people who had bills regularly over $100, $120 for this breakfast. And now Rio said no more. Hyatt Globalists get their own menu. You get like basics like omelets or eggs and bacon. No more free reign.
Yeah, I think we even predicted this like from day one that this would happen. People were going to take advantage while they could, and they would have to draw back, pull it back a bit. And a big part of this is it's not Hyatt's restaurant. They can't like offset those costs. Like it's $120, but it's probably like $20 in food. But they can't, subsidize that with, because it's not their restaurant. So they might be paying 75% of the cost or whatever, but it's going to be way more expensive than if they were running it in-house themselves. So I'm not surprised to see this. It's kind of sad that people took, over advantage of it, that it went away in like a month or two. But this is kind of where we were always going. And hopefully when they open up the tavern, they do the breakfast in there, you get, a wide selection like you would at any other Hyatt property. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
One quirk about it is that gratuity is included, and I have to imagine this was costing them a ton. And I noticed from Twitter, somebody posted a picture of a receipt, and it shows a specific Globalist breakfast on there now. So the bill on the back end is a lot less, meaning the gratuity is probably a lot less for the servers. But you do get one hot item like coffee or espresso, one cold drink like a soda or juice, and then all of that. So it's still a decent breakfast. I wish they would have given you like a dollar amount that you could use so you could try other things on the menu. But this is not a surprise. Somebody finally got the bill for all those breakfasts and they were not happy.
I think the dollar amount would have made more sense in this situation, but I'm kind of glad it didn't go there because then who knows, do they instill, if it works well, do they put a dollar amount at every Hyatt place that you go to, every hotel out there? That would not be good for us at some of these restaurants.
So let's talk about the Las Vegas Spaceport. Now, we talked when they announced this that they wanted to build this thing between Las Vegas and Pahrump. And the idea is that it will be a spaceport in the future when there's tourism to space or other uses for it. But they're trying to get it set up as an airstrip now, and that's sort of what they were approved for this week. So it is called the Las Vegas Spaceport, but they applied as an airport, and they're going to build some private jet terminals. And I think the idea to start would be for private jet overflow coming into Las Vegas. Although they do say within 5 years they could have space vehicles. 5 years seems a little optimistic.
I mean, if you watch any of the SpaceX launches, it doesn't seem like we're within 5 years of doing, tourist stuff to space. But I like that they're saying they want to open up a casino and that type of thing. And if it's a space themed one, we don't have anything like that in Vegas or anywhere that I know of. So I think that'd be really cool if they do that. And that's what I'm most excited about. I don't know that this, overflow airport's going to do much for anybody except for, millionaires and billionaires that are flying their jets in for busy weekends. But if they open up that, I think that'd be kind of cool. It would help out the Pahrump area a little bit, help out, those pink box donuts.
Absolutely. It's great. I mean, it has the greatest name ever, too, Las Vegas Spaceport. What's really interesting is that they can issue bonds because it is an airport, so they have access to some financing options that you wouldn't normally have. They still need FAA approval, but it does seem like this is going to happen for at least the airport portion. And even though it's an airport, Las Vegas Spaceport. And I think that's beautiful branding.
I'm excited to see the merch, see what we can get out of it. I think that'd be cool.
So I wanted to highlight this. Last week, Bally CEO Sue Kim had an interview, and it was another interview talking about the future of the Tropicana site. And in this interview, he seems like he's very afraid to say anything. It's widely been speculated Bally's does not have the money to build this casino. They also have that project in Chicago, which is a massive project that they're supposed to build as well. And basically, when he was asked, are they going to build a grand project for the A's site, kind of in line with that grand stadium that they released, those concept art, the Sydney Opera House Stadium, this is what he said. And excuse all the uhs. Yeah, I mean, look, I want to be sort of real, right? But look, we are a medium-sized gaming company, right? We're not the largest. And then he goes on to talk about how they specialize in regional gaming and they're still learning markets like Vegas.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy inside or that strong frontage that you want to see from like a CEO and stuff being like, yeah, we got this figured out. We already have a good idea what we're going to do. We're just not quite there yet. It'll be grand or it'll be great. Like he's basically saying, I can't lie to you, but I also can't tell you that we're not going to build anything. And if we do, it's going to be like a crappy local casino, not Vegas-esque and not up to this A's, standard that they're coming out with. And so I hope that they just get off the project, like move on. If you're struggling, you have the Chicago thing you need to work through. Doesn't sound like you have anything lined up for here. Just sell, your part of the land or the rights that you have to the land and move on and let somebody come in that has a vision.
He sure doesn't sound like a guy with a lot of confidence. And for people who are saying, okay, well, Bally's is going to do this. They've all said they're going to do this. This is where the skepticism comes from, is when you hear this guy talk, he does not have the confidence. You don't hear a guy who's building this, mega project on the Strip or this flagship project for the stadium. And I agree with you, but we'll see. I mean, I still think it could happen. I think Bally's could figure it out. Figure out the financing. Maybe they could partner with somebody else. There are a lot of possibilities. For anybody who says this will never happen and they're 100% sure of it, I don't know about that. But on the flip side, if you're not questioning Bally's at this point, I don't know what you're doing.
I'll say it. It would be great if he was like, I want to be real with you. We're broke as a joke.
Brutal honesty there. So we'll see. We'll keep following up on that. I'll put a link down to the interview. You can check it out. He did a full interview on the podcast. Talking about all of this, all of Bally's, everything in their future. So as a reminder, if you win a jackpot over 10 grand or whatever it is, and you're flying home, don't put the cash in your checked luggage. This happened to somebody. She was flying Spirit Airlines and she was connecting and then eventually made it home to Rochester. Her bag somehow got home before she did, so I think she missed her connection. And the next day she went to the counter to pick up her bag. And of course, $12,000 was missing.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with this and just not bad decision making. I mean, first off, if you're taking over $10,000 on a flight, you need to claim it. Like they could have confiscated this and taken it. And we have bad laws and rules on confiscating things. They can just hold it for as long as they want. They don't have to do anything for it. They don't have to give it back. I mean, there's plenty of stories. Google them about people that flew with money that gets confiscated, even if it was legit money that they never get back and they have to fight for it and, get the news involved and all this stuff. So if you're going to fly, make sure you claim it or, fill out the paperwork and keep it on your person or, somewhere that you can keep an eye on it. But the easiest thing is just go to the bank and deposit it. Like there's a branch for most major banks in Vegas. Go there. If you have to open up a new account, for one that's in your area, like a Chase or a Capital One or something, go do that and then deposit it. Like, don't mess around with this kind of money.
Yeah, civil asset forfeiture is a real thing, especially at airports. And maybe you could just show them, "Hey, I won this money," and they would have let you to have it. If you're, it's never a good idea to check anything in your baggage like that. It's all subject to search, and it's done in areas that aren't always secure, that aren't always, surveilled. So you just get your bag back, and then they try to figure out what happened, but they don't know it. And I feel terrible for her. But as you said, either get a check or deposit it in the bank. Casinos on a large jackpot will absolutely give you the check, and they will make it easy. They don't need the cash. But, sometimes it's great just carrying around those $100 bills.
Yeah, I totally get why you'd want it in cash. It's cool to see, like, stack it up, just feel it, throw it up in your bed. I don't know what you want to do, but anytime I've won a decent amount or had a chunk of money, I don't want to fly with more than like $1,000. So I'll go to the bank. I've taken an Uber. I've even asked you to drive me to the bank before.
So Jonathan Jostle, the president of Plaza, he's always in the news, very heavy on social media. They have the podcast. He's done a great job of sort of taking their brand at Plaza and putting it out to the world and kind of peeking behind the scenes a little bit. And in that realm, he just did a day in the life of a CEO video here on YouTube, where it's like a 40-minute video following him around in a day. I love when they do these types of videos. They set up very special days, like they had their special bingo that day and other stuff. But there was a lot of cool things in this video behind the scenes, stuff I was a little surprised wasn't cut out. Some talk about advantage players, how there's advantage slot players looking for the right machines to hit at the right moments. I actually met an advantage slot player the other day, Mark, somebody who makes his living off slot machines, which is very fascinating to me. And there were some other characters along the way we can talk about in a second. But what did you think of this video? I thought it was brilliant marketing, and it was a fun watch.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch the whole thing, but the bits and pieces I've checked out, I mean, it's cool. You don't get this kind of access from CEOs very often, much less CEOs of casinos. Usually it's like the silent treatment or hush and smoke and mirrors, and they don't really want you to know what they're thinking, what's going on. So it's cool. And I think, we've talked about this, Plaza and Circus has really done really well with the social media marketing, but he takes it even a step further with the accessibility that he has and like how he's out there. He puts himself out there and just kind of, I think he gets it. Like they have a slot room, or they've had a slot room for a long time. That's a YouTube person that they've worked with. And like he gets that people watch these millions of hours of video watching them play slots. Hey, if they're watching it and they like this guy, they're going to come to my casino and stuff. Like he just understands the way marketing works these days and how to reach the end user a bit better than these bigger brands do.
So there were a couple of cool moments that happened when we're watching this. One is Oscar Goodman calls Jonathan Jostle. Who knows if it's set up or not? Mark thinks it's set up. I thought it was really out of chance.
Speed dating.
But Gareth Leonard, the guy who did this video, he asked Oscar Goodman about the mob. Some really fun answers there and a really fun conversation considering the two had never met. And then strangely, the infamous Vegas Pauly C just shows up in the video somewhere, not only talking good about Plaza, but trashing some of the other casinos like Resorts World and Fontainebleau, I think. He loves to trash those places. Yeah, it was so strange to see him show up in the video. He had a lot to say. He added a little color. Apparently he loves Plaza, though. So do you think that was another setup, having Vegas Pauly C wander in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you followed any of the stuff with him and other people, he's working these deals behind the scenes and getting sponsorships and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was all kind of pre-planned or organized. Or maybe he just knew that it was going to be happening and decided to crash it. But I think the fact that they let him be in it as much, it had to be planned.
Yeah, it was interesting. And go check out this video. Great video. Great job that they did. And it's an interesting look that you don't get elsewhere. And I love to see it. So let's finish with the Sphere, Mark. They talked about their earnings, and their earnings are getting better. Now, they're still losing money, and that's not really a surprise. We expect them to continue to lose money. But we learned a few things. They're selling $1 million a day still in tickets to Postcard from Earth, the Darren Aronofsky film. They also have a second film in production. I know that's something that you've talked about and wanting, get a second film in there, get more variety. But $1 million a day in tickets is crazy. And we'll talk in a second about some big upgrades they have planned as well.
Yeah, I think I was surprised by that. You would think that all the early adopters and everybody that wants to check it out, that's paying that expensive price to watch a movie, not even like a full feature length movie, would have already like kind of dried up a bit. So that's cool to see that they're getting that. I think a second movie would help even more. And even if you like stack them a bit where you have like two showings, I think that would bring a lot of people that saw the first movie back in again, because this is such a unique place to see any type of feature. So I think once they get that rolling, it'll be even better.
James Dolan said they're employing a great deal of tech, including a significant component of AI in the new movie. And then he also talked about how they are going to enhance the experience on the outside by adding sound. I think this is a great idea because once you get out there, it's beautiful. The screen is overwhelming, especially the first time you see it. And we're talking about the outside screen at this point. But I feel like adding music, adding some sort of audio element to what you're seeing on the screen is a great idea, and one that they probably should have had at the beginning, but they figured it out.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll like they'll do this for the people that are right around it, but also like maybe have like a streaming site or something that you can listen on your phone if you're a bit further away or watching from your room, and kind of sync this up. Similar to like how the fireworks stream up to one of the radio stations for the fireworks show. I think that'd be really cool. And then I assume that if they do this, they could charge even more for ads when they're running those because you have that aspect added into it. So I think it's a good move on their part and should hopefully bring them more money. And then of course it'll add to the spectacle.
Other stuff he talked about, just saying that Dead Company added more shows due to demand. Talked it up about everything that's happened with U2 selling out all their shows, the Fish shows doing well. No news of another act coming. Any of the rumored ones we've talked about, none of that is announced thus far, but the sound was a kind of a good surprise, and the news is pretty good. I think that this venue is doing better than expected, and it's been well received. We also know, we talked about on the last show, we weren't sure if UFC is coming, but UFC is coming in September to the Sphere as well. I read some stuff saying that this is probably going to be a one-off because it's very, very expensive for them to produce it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool to see how a sporting atmosphere, like sports environment, a fight, maybe this could lead to like a big boxing match or something like that. I hope it goes really well and that they make a lot of money off of it because I want to see more things like this in there.
Absolutely. So good news for the Sphere. Good to see that. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. Those little tiny craps tables, the Jonathan Jostle video, everything we talked about on this show. W2Gs, are you ready for them to raise that threshold? Hit us up in the comments. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Don't forget to check out our brand new channel, 20 Minute Travel, as well. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.